Well, to me, this doesn't look right. That is a U.S. embassy, I believe in Moscow. The American flag, great. What is the LGBTQ flag doing there as well? Embassies throughout the world are flying not one, but two flags, sometimes three flags. Black Lives Matter as well. What does that have to do with anything? Please, someone tell me. There are some folks who don't like this in Congress as well, including one of our favorites, Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene. Welcome back to Newsmax. How are you?
Hi, Greg. It's good to be here with you tonight.
So, look, this does seem kind of ludicrous to me, and you're doing something about it.
Absolutely. I'm so proud to be a co-sponsor on the only Old Glory Act. The reason why this is important is the American flag is the flag that represents every single American. We don't need political identity politics. We don't need the Democrat Party making one group more important than the other. The only flag that should fly over any of our U.S. embassies, over any of our federal buildings, is Old Glory, the beautiful stars and stripes. And that's why I'm so proud of this bill and very happy to be a co-sponsor.
It makes perfect sense. It's kind of weird that we're in a place now where you have to make a law for something so obvious, but you do. And also, you mentioned LGBTQ. There are all kinds of other flags that are flying. Black Lives Matter, and let's face it, that is very, very divisive. Some of the LGBTQ issues are divisive, and that's another flag that's flying in the mix. This is all Biden? Is this all Biden administration initiated?
I believe so. And first of all, Black Lives Matter is a domestic terrorist organization, so that is no flag that should ever fly over any of our government buildings. The LGBTQ flag, that's not a flag that needs to be flown over our government buildings either. The American flag represents all Americans, and that is the only flag that should ever be flown, period. And there's no argument about it. So that's why I'm introducing this bill. And I believe it's very important for everyone to support it.
We remember when the Obama administration, his IRS department went after conservative groups in a pretty ugly way, and we all found out about it and nothing happened. You pointed out, and you've been highlighting that in the new Biden budget, they're hiring like tens of thousands of new IRS agents. Do you have concerns about how they may be used?
Oh, this is a huge topic and no one is talking about it. I've been screaming about it from the rooftops. Greg, this is a very big deal. We remember years ago when the IRS was weaponized during the Obama-Biden administration, and they were targeting conservative groups, and that was under Lois Lerner, who, by the way, never was held accountable, never served time in jail. Well, now we have under the Biden administration in his $6 trillion budget, which is nothing but socialism, we are seeing he wants to introduce 87,000 IRS agents. He wants them hired, and they will be weaponized to target Trump voters, Trump donors, NRA donors, you name it. But if you're conservative, I guarantee you will be a target of the IRS under the Biden administration. This is something that should terrify everyone. He's also adding $80 billion on top of the IRS's existing budget. So they are going to be heavily using the IRS to go after all enemies of the Biden administration and of Democrats. And you know exactly who that will be. That'll be me, you, and every single conservative and small business owners all across the country.
Wow. You brought me into it. Yeah, now I'm really concerned, and I can see that happening. Listen, AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, your Democrat colleague, I know you're not close, but she is saying some interesting things about prison population. Let's listen together.
If we want to reduce violent crime, if we want to reduce the number of people in our jails, the answer is to stop building more of them. The answer is to make sure that we actually build more hospitals, we pay organizers, we get people mental health care and overall health care, employment, etc. It's to support communities, not throw them away.
All right. Sometimes I think she's just like she's like a fourth grader. I mean, she's very simple ideas, but she does hold a lot of sway. What do you think of the conversation that's happening right now about criminal justice reform?
Well, the problem with AOC is she believes government is God, and she believes that government should be solving all problems in society, where she can't be further from the truth. This is why this woman should debate me. I would really like to challenge her on her ideas. Her ideas are straight socialism. If we want to end violent crime, then we should be funding the police, and we should be supporting our police officers all over the country in every single community. If we want to end violent crime, then we should be making more arrests and holding people accountable. And we should have strong prison systems that turn people over and then turn them back into society completely reformed. If we want to end violent crime, it's support the police, not defund the police, AOC.
And to your point that she thinks government is God and government is responsible for everything, her grandmother's house looks like it's a wreck, sorry, down in Puerto Rico. She posted pictures of it on Twitter and a message that she's waiting for Donald Trump, or was waiting for Donald Trump to give relief, hurricane relief, and it's all the government's fault. She has the means to fix up her grandmother's house if she wants to. I don't know why she's not doing that. But publicly, yeah, she's blaming the government. What do you think of that kind of attitude?
I think it's absolutely pathetic, and she constantly plays the victim. This is a woman who gets paid $174,000 a year. She is not married. She does not support a family. If her grandmother is living in squalor or having a hard time, she should be down there taking care of her. She should be paying for a place for her to live. She should be paying her bills and doing whatever she can to take care of her grandmother, because that's what people should do, is take care of your own family. But another thing she needs to realize is the government policies of Puerto Rico are the exact policies that she's trying to bring to the United States, which is socialism, and socialism fails. And that's why Puerto Rico went bankrupt already, just like Greece did, because of socialism. So this isn't President Trump's fault. This isn't anyone else's fault. This is socialist fault. And this is the policies that she wants with the Green New Deal. You see, AOC has no comprehension of the very policies that she's supporting. She lives in a fantasy world where she thinks socialism is going to solve everyone's problems. But actually, what it's going to do is it's going to put all of the people in the United States of America in terrible living conditions, like the people that she's talking about in Puerto Rico. And she also needs to remember how much aid has been given to Puerto Rico. You see, it's the corrupt government in Puerto Rico that has been squandering the hundreds of billions of dollars that the U.S. has given to Puerto Rico over many years. And we shouldn't forget, Greg, remember those warehouses stocked full of clean water, baby formula, cots, generators, and so much aid that was sent from the good people in the United States of America to Puerto Rico. But guess what the government did? They shoved it away in warehouses and never gave it to the people. So you see, AOC needs to let go of her government is God and government fixes all the problems. And she needs to wake up to reality and realize that it's government that fails people, and it's independent liberty and freedoms is how people can take care of themselves. And that's why America is a great country.
Wow. And Marjorie Taylor Greene, I'll point out that AOC should know that there are plenty of Home Depots down there. We actually have a map. There are like 100 she could choose from. They're all over the place. Home Depot, I believe, was started in Georgia.
Yeah.
Marjorie Taylor Greene, we appreciate it so much. Continued success, and we'll talk soon. Many thanks.
Thank you, Greg.
Hey, I'm Rob Finnerty. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please join the conversation in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, too. Hit the bell icon to be alerted to breaking news. And remember, there's a whole lot more on Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news network. Newsmax TV, we're real news for real people.